Yeah, the whole market is taking quite a beating, it looks like.
Really, really bad. I mean, all we can do now
Yeah.
is just like chill and I mean,
Yeah. Wait.
but it's crazy because you look back a few weeks ago and this price is amazing, you know? So
Right,
it's
right.
all relative, right? So I just kind of take a step back. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna start doing work on my house again. Just
Yeah.
the same old thing like we were before, right?
Yeah.
We didn't go to an all-time high. Just fuck it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh boy, but it's good. It needed to happen, right? Wilder was doing some TA while she was in this morning in the space we had going, and she was
Hmm.
like, it needed to happen. It really needed to happen. Looking at the chart, so
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think it's normal also for pre-halving, which is like super soon. It's like in
mhm.
a month. So, um, yeah, we'll see. I mean, yeah, it's some rotation, and it just to be patient, right? And it's the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Patience is a key. All I do, honestly, is sit back and count them reflections. Calculate them up. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, that's fire. And even at the
Yeah.
price they are now, the reflections I got from the way, because I take screenshots, right? And only every once in a while, not all the time, but so I look back at my screenshot before we went way up, and I'm like, damn, the
Hmm.
reflections I got going all the way up and down, even at the price earn is now, like not bad.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
look at like a regular savings account and stuff. Now,
Hmm.
you look at the multiples of what earn did and what I could have pulled out, but that's not
Yeah.
I didn't if I would have done that, I'm not promoting the ecosystem, right? Like it would just
Yeah.
diminish
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ecosystem when I do that. So this is like I'm literally just sitting here and getting free money. It's crazy. It's cool. I love
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
going that high just is nuts. And then the reflections from that. What was it for the burn wallet? What 8 million got burned or something in the matter of a month?
Yeah. And Michael, do you have
Or
the
a few
numbers on
million?
that?
Yeah, yeah. I know he usually does, but yeah, it was something crazy like that. I was like, not 8 million, but a few million, I think, or 2 million in the last like month or couple
Yeah.
months. Someone just posted the stats. I don't
I know. I mean, it's crazy, and I mean, yeah, that's why just let them leave. I
know. Yep.
mean, if you want people in the project, they're happy with how everything's doing, and if they don't, that's totally fine. Or if they found something that suits them better, like everybody
Yep.
should do what they think it's best for them, and we deal with it. And actually, I mean, that dip, like it has been bought up nicely. It's not that they dumped it all and then nothing happened. Like there, a decent amount of buys have been coming in and taking
Yeah.
advantage of this because some people have been waiting for something like that
Yeah, they
for a
didn't want to buy
while
the green
because
candle. You don't buy that. You know what I mean? Like a
yeah,
smart trader doesn't buy something like that. So people have been waiting
yeah,
for this, and it's just right timing. You guys always say
yeah,
the biggest wallets rotate out.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, actually something. So yeah, we want to start or try at least and see how it goes. We're gonna do always at 9 in the morning during the week
Yeah.
a space, and then likely also in the afternoon around 3 o'clock to kind of catch different folks and. Maybe not today, but I will start to upload these spaces onto YouTube so people can like easily get to them. And yeah, once I have it already, we like will do the afternoon one. We do a video, not just audio.
Yeah.
But I have to figure out first the logistics of and software and stuff.
I
But yeah,
like
we'll
that
see
too.
if that kind of changes the dynamic.
Yeah, I like that a
Yeah, go
lot
ahead.
actually. Especially, I know Wilder and I have been talking because we've just been all of us are just hold up in a space, do this and that. But we kind of wanted to do a little more structure too. And I talked to her about
Mhm.
specifically time in the morning. So honestly, that would kind of make sense because we're early birds anyway, and we're up early, so we do like the
Yeah.
pre-morning show, right? So it's like, oh,
Yeah, that
the
would be
early
cool.
bird
Hmm.
show, and then the regular earn show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The kind of deal. You get
Yeah,
it,
I
right?
think that's good. Hmm.
So
Yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to do that a bit more regular, see how we can keep it up, and
Yeah.
yeah, it might be easier for folks because it's more predictable.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, and now it's a good time since it seems like the whole markets are in kind of a waiting position. Everybody's waiting for the halving to happen, and then probably everyone is gonna FOMO in or whatever. I don't know, but it just seems like people are very hesitant right now, and that's probably also a good thing. And so it's a good time to maybe fill that void a little bit with something more structured.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, and today actually we were thinking about talking about something we were reminded of. Um, so so now with the growing ecosystem of the flamelings, right, we actually start to build sort of a community of devs within the Earn ecosystem. So all these people that run their own little flameling projects, they start to experience like how it is to be a dev and what kind of challenges you face, what type of people you interact with. And with recent events, Michael and I were reminded of uh, kind of something that will happen in 2021. And it's something that people don't talk about it a lot. You hear a lot about, about scammers and all the different schemes they play on investors. But there are actually scammers out there. They're specifically targeting devs. And so kind of forgot about it because it also wasn't not a good experience. So we probably just kind of pushed it in the back of our minds. But yeah, we were recently reminded of it, and I just wanted to kind of tell that story a little bit, so because it might actually help some people that now are running flameling projects or any other project that they're running. They could get into a similar situation, and it's good to know how to deal with it. So in 2021, Michael and I launched our first crypto project. And it had, so back then the launches were much more FOMO'd than I feel like in this cycle. So we had a huge spike in the beginning when we launched.
Mm-hmm.
And, then you have all these people like coming in, they're filling the bags, and you have a lot of people talking in the TGs. Like we've not, I think, at least in my opinion, we haven't seen how it was back then here in. Like it would just the chat would be so fast. It maybe similar to when we launched on Solana, even though there was mostly drama in our chat. It was a
Yeah.
similar feeling, like the frequency of messages, like it was just insane. But obviously, because it's a launch, like it was pretty much all positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have a lot of people that get interested and they want to help. And we had this individual, he called himself Jay Nakamoto.
Hmm.
And he started immediately to host like VCs. Like back then, we didn't really do Twitter at
For
all.
Earn?
Just
He was holding VCs for he
sorry.
was holding VCs for or a different project or something.
Yeah, for the project we were launching.
Gotcha.
So he basically chimed in, was very talkative, and then the week that followed, he would do like regular VCs I think every day at the same time, and he would like give updates to the community. He was very involved immediately, and so, but after a week or two, all of a sudden, he asked for money, and we were a little bit taken aback because we were like, well, we never discussed any like employment or whatever or pay for
Yeah.
you. Like you just did that voluntarily, you know. yeah, and he also got other people in. He got like a graphic designer that then designed all the ads and stuff. And then, yeah, they started to ask for money for all of them that he kind of, lured in to help as well. But yeah, it was never discussed that we would pay them. And yeah, then when we were kind of hesitant or refused or semi ignored them, because like in my opinion it was like, hey, so if you want to get paid for your services, you need to discuss that with me in advance. Like, I'm not just going to show up at a company, do some voluntary work, and then say, hey, pay me for that work. And the guy was
Well, they could
like,
even bring it up in a
supposedly,
discussion too, and be like, "Hey, I've been doing
yeah,
this for a while. What do you guys think about this if we do something in the future?" Did he not approach it like that at all?
exactly. No, no, he said we have to pay him for the past,
What the heck?
what he already did. And he was like, well, I'm like, so he was supposedly DC based. And he was like, well, I'm a consultant for, Fortune 500 companies. And I'm way more expensive than I'm asking for here. And it was like thousands of dollars he would ask
Yeah.
for that 1 or 2 week. And the same pay
It
for
was four. It was four.
the
It was
graphic
4 days. It was
designer.
4 days, and he was a fucking 18-year-old
Yeah.
kid. What he turned out to be.
Yeah, later we figured out who he really was, and he actually did the same thing with other projects too. But yeah, so he would like keep pushing for the money, and then hop on a call with us with obviously like a side piece. Well, that kind of, it's not very intimidating if he's talking to us alone. So he had someone with him that supported him and also wanted to get paid. And yeah, so they basically said, we know all these. So first of all, we have large bags in this project, and we know all these whales in your project. And if you don't pay us, we will make them. We will make them sell. They will all sell, and your project is going to be dead. And um, back then we had zero experience,
Right.
right? We were pretty much did not know what we were doing, and we just wanted our project to succeed. So we were actually pretty intimidated by the prospect of people dumping their large
Sure, you
bags
didn't
and
want your
holdings.
project to die, right?
Exactly, yeah. And so we actually ended up them paying, but eventually, I mean, those whales sold anyways. And it was interesting. So that same person, Jay, he then launched his own project. He was then reaching out to community members in our community and saying, "Hey, I got this new project going, and I have all these VCs that are going to pump money into this project. It's going to be way better. Just come over to our project. It's going to make you so much money." And yeah, lots of people did, but obviously his project eventually died too because they just it was an initial pump and dump, and there was nothing really behind it. Eventually, and he moved on a few weeks later from that project as well. He just abandoned it and went to the next. Um, yeah, and so basically, I'm telling you all this because I know that for example, creative, he mentioned like he's getting approached in similar ways, from people that want to do marketing
Mm-hmm.
and they want to do graphics and they want to do development and all
Yeah.
that. And you just have to be aware that, yeah, all these people, it's very hard to find good people that actually will support the project. And what we've learned is it was not worth to pay these people. They likely they didn't
Mm.
have as much stake as they say, you know. And these whales will sell if they have some connections to it. Eventually, they will sell. It's not that they're going to support your project just because you paid them. It's just their MO. They target devs, especially ones that are doxxed, because then you're even more intimidated, right? Because when your project fails, that is much more public than if you if you nobody knows your name or where you live, then they can't really bribe you into this kind of scheme. But when you're doxxed, at least partially, they can do this. And for us, we just realized it wasn't worth it, and we just had recently observed a little bit similar, a strikingly similar MO with a few individuals, and we didn't fall for it this time. And I think that was a good thing that we didn't basically went into that kind of dealing with
That's
them.
because we have also we have a substantial amount more money, and we're patient.
Yeah. Yeah, we're more patient now. We know how it goes, right? We know that there will always be a phase where it's getting slower. The market cap is gonna be sort of stagnant, and people rotate out, and it's a part of the whole thing. And so, yeah, we just want to make sure. Like, I completely forgot about all this. It's freaking drama back then, and I was like, well, maybe that's something that people don't talk about. Actually, scammers target devs as well. It's not just the investors, right? And the devs are the scammers.
Oh yeah, it's a
They're
black
actually
thing.
people.
I know the game plan. Step one:
Yeah.
buy up a lot of the tokens, large, small market cap. Then pivot to saying that we're going to market this thing or we're going to sell, and you need to pay these marketers. That these people are connected together. I mean, it's a thing that you can do to projects to make money from devs because it's blackmail. That's what it is. And so,
and then that money you can use to go into the next one, right? And then you're likely scamming out more, because usually they come with an offer like, you got to pay me a 2 to 4 ETH per week, and bullying, I'm going to pump your project.
They're like money bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the small.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you're intimidated and you're paying that even just for a few weeks before you bleed out, they probably have made more money than they put in the beginning to create a little bit of a green candle.
Well, they can use previous projects to claim that they brought X amount of money to it to do that. And, it's a game that's played out there, and people's got to be careful with it. I mean, I think I've actually talked to a decent amount of like founders, and a lot of times they don't have money. They're always searching for like how to market a project, and people take advantage of that shit, because the community can be pretty like pressuring to change and make things better. And then these people come out with like these promises to do this, and it's like that Star Wars meme. It's a trap,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a trap, and it's because eventually. So they probably so they're collecting the money from the devs, and then after a few weeks, either the dev doesn't pay anymore and they dump all their bags, or they just decide they found something better and they dump all their bags. And so overall, they've made a lot of money off of the dev and the tokens they were dumping. And
well, either way, they're going to dump all their bags. Either way, that's going to happen.
Yeah, either way, it doesn't matter. Eventually, they don't have like a very long attention span, and they know that the longer they stay in a project, the more difficult it's going to be to move to the next. Like, they have to be brief so people forget who they were, right? And they just jump from one to the next. And that Jay Nakamoto, I think he did like 3, 4, 5 projects until we didn't hear anything from him anymore.
10, I got added to a fucking group, actually. I got added to
right, it was a group about him.
He did 10 that I know.
So many people. Yeah,
it was like years later I got added to a group, and it was like because people were trying to like find his ass because they were so pissed off about like his process and him and his team of VC. But I'm like, I mean, it makes sense. Like, I think about it. I know, like, if I come off and say, hey guys, I'm a multi-millionaire, right? Look at all this money I have. look at these projects that I pushed to these levels, and I put my hooks into a project that's new, and then they're
Yeah.
like, hey, if you want this thing to succeed, you need to pay me, or I'm gonna sell all my bags and your thing's gonna die. And a lot of
Yeah.
people in the space don't know any better, sadly, or they can't afford it, or they're so hyped up, they're so excited that they actually have attention now. And it's
Yeah.
they say crypto's a wild west. I mean, they ain't joking. It really is. And you have to know there's a lot of
Yeah.
ways that people get played out there, and it's dangerous. But I mean, like there's that movie we watched. Remember that, Nandina, where it's like a pharmaceutical company. The girl was like, "And that's how
Yeah.
the fucking game
Yeah.
is played." She said that.
Yeah.
She's like, "And
Exactly.
this is how the fucking game is played."
Hi, Alchemist. How are you? Can you hear us? Or maybe it's not ready to talk.
But yeah, I'm losing my voice a little bit, but um, yeah, be careful out there, guys. I mean, the bull run is here, in my opinion. I mean, there's also like wallet draining links, which are more and more prevalent. So be careful about stuff you click on. That stuff happens.
Yeah, shoot. I'm more worried about that than the fucking next launch. Like, hold up. What am I clicking on here?
Yeah, some wild stuff.
I send it like the link, or I log in on like a different computer or something that doesn't have my shit in it, and then I click it.
Yeah,
My burner computer.
yeah, I'm pretty good about that these days. I think it's my IT background that I'm forgetting about not clicking on links or getting hacked because I did a lot in network and IT security. So
Yeah, that's
I've
true.
never practices. I've never actually got caught because of that.
Good.
So I'm a little bit fucking paranoid about everything these days.
Oh yeah, it happens. Hmm.
We're talking about sleep. It fell off. I fell off the space. You guys
Oh,
talking
great.
about scammer links?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get caught out there. But be
Yeah,
careful.
actually, yeah. Like I saw the other day, and yeah, it was yesterday. I saw an X again a post, which it was very crazy. So there are scammers that target people that are looking for jobs or available for jobs, and they target like blockchain devs in particular. So they reach out to them and then they say, "Hey, I have an awesome job here. Um, you can get an interview with the CTO directly if you can fix this problem with the current with the current DApp." And so they ask you to download the DApp on your local computer. And so that one that I read about was crazy. So he just started it, and it basically figured out somehow his seed phrase of MetaMask, and he got all the funds. Yeah,
Oh,
luckily he only had like 60. He only had the $60 on it. And
yeah.
the same thing, like very similar, happened to me too. So it was a bit
Oh,
different because it required me to connect to mainnet Ethereum. So
uh-huh.
it was a bit different. But that moment when it asked me to connect to mainnet, I was like, nah, this is shady, because no development happens on mainnet. You always develop on testnet. And so then I shut it down. But then so I got contacted by about 5 different people. They always shared the same repository with the same code. It just had different names. And I've read a lot of posts from other people that got contacted the same way. And it's just so low to target people that, I mean, I wasn't really particularly looking for a job, but there are people that desperately look for a job. And if they tell them, hey, solve this issue and I get you an interview with the CTO directly, they will jump in, especially if they're not as experienced, right? And so that's just
trying to really
taking advantage. Yeah, taking advantage of the people that really don't need that shit. They don't need to lose money. It's just. But yeah, there are all shapes and forms of different scams.
Yeah,
it's crazy what people. It's creative what they come up with. I'm not gonna lie, but I wish they would use their creativity for something better.
It's very elaborate, and it makes you like trust people a little less. You're like,
yeah, every time. Yeah, I mean now anybody that contacts me and wants something from you before they even offer an interview with somebody, like I'm gonna block them. Like there is no reason why I should check out some code without having talked to someone face to face. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Like you just that's what I mean, I love all Web3 and blockchain technology and all that. I really love it, but that the space has become so anonymous and very low barrier for hurting people, that is not something I like about it. Because having like an online life, which I think has become for most people do a lot of things of their life online, then you already have less interactions with people. And then when they even not hide behind, PFP, you never know what else they do. They only talk about, what crypto they invest, that's it. You don't learn anything else about them. And then it just becomes so, I don't know, empty socially, right? It's kind of sad. And then with all these scams, because it's easier to scam someone that you never seen or met, then the trust is just vanishing. And yeah, I don't think it's a good trend. Yeah,
I agree.
But yeah, it's kind of almost.
You don't.
Oh, go ahead.
As much though happening to devs, right? You hear about it happening to random crypto investors, yada yada.
Yeah.
And devs scamming people. It's not always like the devs scamming the people. Who scam artists.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, and I think it's different because, as an investor, first of all that there's a high chance that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you can mitigate your risk by just not investing. Just investing as much as you can lose, right? Because whether it's a scam or not, it still can go to zero.
A job's a whole
one way or another.
That's crazy, though.
Right? But then when you're a dev, you're putting in work. You're likely putting in personal funds to make the project succeed. And then there is no good way out of it, right? Especially if you don't notice the scheme yet, then you can so easily be pressured to just give people money because you have the choice between giving money or destroy your project. That's the kind of the choice they give you. And so I think that is really, it's just not nice. It's like people that put in the work and, they give up a lot of their time and money.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
And then you're going to target specifically these people because they want their project to be successful. It's just, yeah. But yeah, I saw the other. I think it was yesterday night. So on Solana, they do these somewhat pre-sales, which is essentially just having an address and people send their money to the address. And
Oh yeah.
since
I was seeing a bunch pre-sale going on, and people
yeah,
were kind of sketched out. But then at the same time, there was a bunch of hype around it.
it's so strange.
What was it
And
called?
yeah, I forgot the name of the project, but there are actually several. And what's crazy, so Zach XBT, he actually he made a post about it. So on the Solana side, those so-called pre-sales collectively since March 12th, so that's about a week.
So March 12th.
It
Okay.
was they collected a total of $122 million.
Oh shit! What?
And about half of those pre-sales never launched a token. And the most recent one that I think got a lot of attention was that the so-called dev, he sent accidentally all the money, or no, all the tokens
Yeah.
to the wrong address.
Someone was just talking about
So
this in the space this morning. Someone came into our space this morning chatting about this. That's crazy.
yeah, but then they noticed that he actually created the new project already, so it was not an accident. It's just a scam. So, and then, yeah, like someone wrote, like, which I agree, like, what the heck is wrong with people? You know, they send money to an unknown address, and then when they don't get the money back or the dev accidentally burns all the tokens, they talk about it like it's a bullish thing. It's like, what? This is bullish.
Yep. People still like Solana and stuff. You hear about all this shit.
Yeah, like I do not get it. It's like being in an upside down dimension or something. It's like, what's wrong with you guys? Like, do you guys want to lose money? Like, why are you sending it to random people? And there are like so many good projects you could invest instead. Um, yeah, so I keep staying away from Solana. Everything I hear about it, I do not like. And yeah, Sol itself does great, but
It's crazy because it's running. The token is running.
the token, yeah, it's insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, I also read
Because
about.
all the
I mean, I have no
scams
idea.
are over there, right? So like people are there's a lot of money cycling through
Yeah,
the Sol token.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And I've also heard, but I have no idea if that's true. That is also a little bit manipulated by some big players, but I don't know if it's just FUD or if there is any truth to it. Yeah. Because in the past, so the Solana Foundation, I mean, there are some shady things about it. That they've lied about the circulating supply of Sol and how much is inflated of it, and how much was how much the foundation has, and all that stuff. Which I think is actually true, but that just nobody cares. Yeah.
Why do they?
But yeah, I mean,
why do they have it as foundation? Why are there? At what point does a token do foundations?
I think it's to basically spearhead the development of it. So it's like just a legal entity that takes care of the funding of the initial development. Like there's the Ethereum Foundation, like Tesla's has a foundation.
Yeah, and
I think Polkadot.
You hear a lot of them, and I'm like, I wonder at which point you're like, oh shit, this is like a lot of stuff that needs to be delegated.
I think it's more for the projects that actually build a lot of infrastructure, because you don't get a full-blown blockchain off the ground, which some volunteers, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you need to pay developers or at least you need a high incentive for them to work on it. So what you often see is that foundations give out quite substantial bounties on solving certain problems of their ecosystem. So yeah, if you go to Tezos or Solana, they have like their bounties to solve different aspects of the blockchain or development.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is good. It makes it centralized, but I think that's what it needs in the beginning, because if you have completely uncoordinated development, it just takes much longer. I mean, if you think about it, even Bitcoin, it was one group or person in the beginning that came out with the idea and the first version of Bitcoin, right? So that was back then when they were working on it, it wasn't public, but technically it was very centralized. Only later, when it was already running, the decentralization came about by people joining the network and more adoption, more developers wanting to contribute. And so now you don't do it in hiding for Ethereum, right? Or other projects. They do it publicly, and they have more funding to do it. They can raise money for it, right? They can raise VC money to fund those initial development steps, and that's why they usually have some form of foundation that organizes that and gets the funds. And then hopefully, if they have interest to do so, that will be less and less over time. And I think for Ethereum, that's really the goal. So if you actually get the development newsletter from Ethereum, they keep a close watch on the decentralization of the nodes, the clients, and all the infrastructure that is needed, and try to come up with new things so they can make it more decentralized over time. So, for example, also an issue right now is that, for example, layer 2s are very centralized. If you take Arbitrum, for example, because a layer 2 is essentially batching transaction into one transaction off-chain, like off-chain from Ethereum, right? And then they batch it into one transaction and then settle it on Ethereum. But to collect all the transaction on layer 2, they need a so-called sequencer, which is basically similar to a block builder on Ethereum. So they get all the transactions, they verify if they are, actually in Arbitrum you don't verify them, you have the opposite, but you collect all transactions, you batch them, and then you put it on Ethereum. And those sequencers currently, most of them are one entity that takes care of it. So Arbitrum's sequencer is run by Arbitrum. But there are a lot of, they do it for security at this point, but there are plans to decentralize those things. But it's just, basically the technology and innovation has to happen first to make that possible. And so I think any project is very centralized in the beginning, and hopefully with more adoption, more people joining, and if the founders of the project have the plan on decentralizing it, it will do that over time. Bitcoin hasn't been decentralized as it is now, forever. Like, it took time for people to join the network, and only if you have enough participants, you are actually decentralized. So, but that's what the foundations are for, I think, mainly to raise money and then take care of the initial development that needs coordination. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I'm actually surprised about Arbitrum because when you look at DeFi Llama, it's like very high up in terms of TVL and volume. But I don't, like, at least in my bubble, not much I don't hear much about it. But only once in a while I see like a post about, oh, Arbitrum is gonna be the meme place,
Oh, like
this bull
meme
run.
place.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I haven't really heard much about it. But I think they're doing a lot of development, and maybe not this bull run, but the next they might be more popular. I'm happy our bet on B&B seemed to have played out fairly well
Yeah, it's like you
because
guys almost predicted
yeah,
it. It's crazy how close it fared to what you guys said, and then it like lacked, and you're like, oh, it's lacking. This is good prime to go, and then everyone like doubles down on it, right? Because everyone's become
yeah,
winglings. And it's crazy. It just ran
yeah,
up. I mean, the whole market's dying down now, so it's all
yeah,
speculative to whatever.
yeah.
But still, it's cool to see it happen like that. How you're
Yeah, because I questioned the decision at some point quite a few times
yeah.
because yeah, you heard a lot of voices like, "Oh, B&B is dead. It was last cycle. It's not going to be like this again. Nobody cares. Everybody hates B&B." But I think there is quite a large community that just is kind of quiet or for themselves, and that's why you don't hear them like scream too much across X or Telegram, right? Like they're just their own contained ecosystem, and you have to actually go in there to see like how many people there are, because I think it's a lot. It's international heavy. It's not like I would say Arbitrum and Polygon. They're very, maybe even AVAX. They're very US focused. It seems, people that talk about it are mainly from the US. Solana too. But when you then like B&B, in my experience, is much more international. Not even like heavy in like other countries that just don't have the money to pay those fees. And I think because they have been around for a while, it's just a place where people invest. Um, I mean, last cycle it was crazy what was happening on B&B. I think I might not have seen it quite yet. What we've seen last cycle. Michael, are you still here, or did your voice disappear?
Oh no, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
having a conversation. Yeah, listening, and voice is kind of cooked a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What did you say?
Yep, I'm still here.
What is it?
Everyone's losing it about Bitcoin going down a little bit. Nobody thinks long term.
Yeah, office. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually put that post out, which is blew my mind, even though I kind of know it already. But it still, again, it blew my mind. So I was listening to this interview. His name is Kruger, and he studies markets. He's like a math guy. He models trends and stuff. And what he's saying is that Bitcoin is going to follow, the adoption of Bitcoin is going to follow an S curve, which means not a power law. So power law would be right now you have the steepest adoption and then it will die down and level out at some point. An S curve is when you have very slow adoption, then you have quite a substantial rise and then it slows down, right? And he said that the adoption of Bitcoin is likely only at about 1% right now. Because if you look how much is invested into Bitcoin and how much is invested into stocks by just regular people, it's so only about 500, what did you say, Michael? 500,000 people probably? No,
What he said.
500
What he
million.
said I simplify it. Everyone in crypto right now, if they DCA, they're gonna be fucking rich.
Yeah, that too. But I wanted to
What do you say?
explain it more. I want to explain it more. Yeah, based on
What do you
the
say?
amount, the number of addresses, and the amount that has been invested through those addresses. So you're not really looking at the addresses that only invest like $10, right? Which is apparently the majority of Coinbase accounts, right? So if you consider how much people have in crypto for these individual addresses, and that most people probably have multiple addresses, you get about to 1% adoption from what it can be if it eventually hits a similar level to stock markets. Because when you see a new technology being adopted, it's going to be about 80% of the people in the world will use that technology. That's like with a cell phone, with internet access, and with stock investing. So about 80%, that's basically the where the peak is for all these technologies when they hit their maximum adoption, because you always will have people that don't have access to it. But so given that, he's saying we're currently at 1%. Now, that means we're actually still in the slow adoption phase. We haven't even hit the real crazy part, which is over the next 20, 30 years, the adoption that we will see will be way crazier than we've seen so far. And we think that, wow, Bitcoin is going up, like it's crazy, it's got to slow down at some point, but we actually are going very slow when you zoom out and look at the next 50 years. And his prediction is essentially that by 2060, Bitcoin will be at $20 million. Just given how many people are going to adopt it and buy Bitcoin, which is just insane.
Opportunity. I mean, I think that's the thing that,
Yeah.
man, my voice is cooked. I was talking with Zach on YouTube last night in regards to like these cycles. People will, buy Bitcoin at $5, and then they're like, shit, it goes to $100, they're happy, then it goes back to like 10, and they lose it, and they sell everything. And Bitcoin is like the top G, like cryptocurrency out there, and it's volatile as hell, even today, going from like 70,000 back down to 15. And I brought that up yesterday in that stream because I wanted to say that because people are like freaking out about Earn going from 11 million to 1 million. And I'm like, Bitcoin went from 69,000 to 15,000 with a much with the fattest liquidity that's even out there by far.
You're right. It's like what is it? Trillion?
Oh, it's wild.
I think.
Yeah. And so
Yeah, I think $1 trillion.
Yeah. So what it comes down to is people's investment, like basically strategy. And that's the whole DCA thing. That's why I constantly preach.
Yeah.
DCA what you're comfortable with. DCA what you're comfortable with. Because lower cap projects have the potential of doing tens of thousands of X's. And you cannot time that if you DCA, if you go in too heavy, and you're going to drop everything you have the first time there's retracement. But traditionally, if you get into something that has good legs, has good backing, good tokenomics, is structured properly, you can do insanely well. Like I'm talking like some stupid numbers, right? But most people don't handle volatility very well. They can't take it. And even in our community today, I would say I could probably count on one hand the number of people that are going to make it to $1 billion market cap. I mean, it's no joke because it's going to be sickening for people to watch millions of dollars move from their portfolio in a couple of days. And then after only having like $1,000 invested. And so a lot of people say they can take it. In the time period Earn has been out, which is very, very short, traditionally. We've seen the community kind of turn over like 4 times. With people staying in, making their exits and getting out. And that's because it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. to watch money move that way. And so, I mean, even in Bitcoin,
Yeah,
it's not easy.
it's actually so. If you've read the Bitcoin Standard, which is actually a really good book, it's a bit provocative and very Bitcoin maxi like, but it's still a very good book because what he's talking about um, basically is saying so people have different time preference, he calls. So basically, if you have a low time preference, you are willing to plan years ahead, right? Because you don't care how quickly it's going to happen. If you have a high time preference, you want the thing now. And our whole society has been primed to have a very high time preference because with inflation and how the economy is designed by the governments, you are constantly forced to spend your money because it's not wise to put it in a bank account. It's just going to lose in value. And who wants to work hard for their money and then, look at it in 10 years and then is only half of it there? So you have to use it, you have to invest it, you have to buy commodities, you have to put it somewhere. So you're in a constant kind of hamster wheel of getting stuff quickly. And so that's the mindset that most people have. And it comes from how people grow up. They can make it barely from month to month. So they don't have a low time preference. They don't have the privilege to plan ahead and think about where they want to be in 10 years because they're so focused on how do I survive from this month to the next. And that's the people, that want solutions quickly. They want to get out of this hamster wheel. And so they're thinking they can come into crypto and get that 100x and they'll be fine. But it's unfortunate how it goes. And people that have a very low time preference have the privilege to have it. They can plan years ahead. They can think about how they want their grandchildren to live like, right? They can think what their children are going to be like or financially stable in 20, 30 years. And hopefully, I mean, his thesis is that if we had money like Bitcoin as the global standard, people would start to get much more of a low time preference because, first of all, right now you would have money that you've earned will appreciate, right? It's not going to depreciate. So there is high value in saving money. And when you save money, you have a low time preference. You rather save more of it. You might have more in the future, and you are not going to spend it right now. I think it's an interesting concept because I've never thought about it that way. But I think it's just how people live right now. The current system just promotes spending. They want you to spend the money. They want your taxes, right? It's interesting, but yeah, it's unfortunate for those that are not aware of it and they are in the hamster wheel and they don't have the mindset of planning something for years ahead. But that's how you should go into crypto because that will make you the most money eventually. I'm pretty sure of that. If you can just stick around and you find ways to invest slowly for a very long time. Yeah, that's just my rant on it.
No, it's cool. I mean, it's interesting. My first year in crypto, I got involved in mining. Man, I was uncertain about a few things, and I hadn't seen these cycles. And I watched so many videos and read so many articles about everything's fine. This is just how it is. But
Yeah.
you start to question it after waiting in a bear market for so many years. Maybe they're right.
I mean, yeah. You see so many. I mean, I see so many people that work in Web3 and crypto, and they all say the same thing. It's very difficult, especially in the bear market, because you're not only struggling with very low liquidity, and you also struggle with a lot of skepticism within the community, but also from outside. Like, everybody tells you how stupid you are, that you're actually in this space, and that why don't you do something more promising? This is all speculation, it's all hype. See, it's like all down again, it's so freaking volatile, nobody will ever use this, because I mean, who wants their savings see cut in half, or even 20% of what it was before when you bought it? Like, that's kind of the narrative that floats around during a bear market, which makes it very discouraging, and it's very hard to not question yourself and what you're doing and what you're building in those times. And I think that's what I really like about the space too, is you have all these people that have like such grit and confidence, and yeah, maybe they just look confident, but probably they're not all the time, but they still keep going, they still keep grinding, right? I mean, a good example is, for me, Dill, who gets up every morning, hosts his space, has done that for months, and then he launches, his token is exploited, and he basically loses everything, right? And there were some posts by him that I was actually a little bit worried about him, but after, I think, 3 days, he just freaking bounced back and is now again relaunched his token, is back in the spaces every freaking day. And that's something I find very inspiring, that you have those people here. And it's those that stick around, that those that you get to know are the people that have that grit, which I think, yeah, is motivating me to try to be like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, Dill's a big inspiration for me too. I mean, seeing him do his own thing, building and from zero. So it's I mean, everyone has their own different level of resources they have at their disposal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And just seeing someone actually doing that. I mean, the other guy that I respect for too is that FAX. It's just one man shop, doing that stuff. And
Yeah, yeah,
people, I think a lot of people don't know that you can put in the work and you can build some really cool things out there if you put in the work. And you have to be active and engaging and do that stuff. And everyone's super early right now in this space.
Yeah.
And you put in the work in something, and do things the right way. Things can be pretty. You can do pretty well for yourself if you do that. But yeah, a lot don't, and kind of sit on the sidelines and get told that this is the wrong thing to be in, and doubt comes in, and yeah, and these cycles, they're tough for people to go through. But
yeah,
I mean, that's how the game is played.
yeah, exactly. So, Michael, are you able to let Wookie up? I'm not able to.
Oh no, let me see.
Are you here?
Oh, Tiger Shark changes PFP to his red flameling.
Oh, nice.
You know what's
so cool.
You know what's funny? Yesterday, I was literally just with them in 10 flamelings because I felt like there had to be something come up like a Nova. And then, but I made that video first. I told myself, I'm gonna make this video addressing the community, then I'm gonna go met 10 flamelings. And then as soon as I posted a video, I look up and damn it, there's one Vincent already.
Yeah. No, it's so cool. I love the red ones because they have these icy flames. Also, yours has that. It just looks really cool. And his is very fun because he has this like glow at the top of the head. I really like it.
No, it's cool. Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna mint 10 flames now. think my chances are better there.
Yeah.
So I can get. I still don't have a yellow. Of either. I don't have a yellow flame or flame link. My luck is that I mint and I get 10 blues.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so ridiculous.
Yeah, so if anybody has questions, they're welcome to come up. We're probably going to close out the space in a few minutes if nobody has any questions. Also, I'm going to check the comments if someone said anything, but I don't think so. And yeah, we'll be back in the afternoon. I think 3 p.m., right? Michael?
Yeah,
That sounds good.
good. Probably pop into the
Yeah.
VC. This is already open on TG. In the main
Yeah.
chat. Feel free to pop in there if you guys want. But
Yeah, if you have any questions or anything, hop in the VC or ask in the TG. Happy to answer any questions you have. And as I said in the beginning of the space, so this space was recorded. So I'm gonna work on uploading that to YouTube as well, so you can more easily find it. And we are going to try to do this now on a more regular basis during the week. We're going to do a space in the morning at 9 a.m. and then a space in the afternoon at 3 p.m. Wookie and Wilder will probably do a pre-space in the morning, in the early mornings. If you're an early bird, you can join them and chat with them. And I'm also going to work on figure out the logistics for having the afternoon space also on YouTube with video, so it's not just audio. But we kind of keep slowly work on that. But now we're just going to do spaces for sure at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. So join us if you can. Let other people know so they can ask the questions if they have any about the project and the entire ecosystem. And don't forget, there will be the launch for 0x52 on Thursday. So we're excited for that. That's going to be a great project. Lila is going to do an amazing job. She's already done awesome animations and music for her Flameling. So I'm excited to see what she's going to build.
yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining. FYI, there's been a little post in the chat, just getting up and reading through some things. Give that a read. And like I said, I'll be in the VC probably later, off and on today in the chat. Tag me if you guys can find me, or tag Navina. And yeah, get out there and take advantage of these dips. I mean, DCA, you're not just in an earn, but if you don't have any Bitcoin at all, maybe consider getting a little bit of Bitcoin. It does tend to move first. Earn is on a decent dip, which I think is a massive opportunity for everyone that's out there. If you're buying at 10 million, why aren't you buying at $1 million? That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
because then you bought then at 5 million, roughly 4.5.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's how the game is played. Anyway, guys, y'all take care.
Okay.
See you.
Take care. See you later.
Bye.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.